Hey, this is Matt from InvestiQuant. Today is Wednesday, August 26, 2020. And yesterday we saw another 52-week high close in the markets, and it did so closing near the highs of the session. So another strong day in the markets. This time, though, the overnight session has been pretty quiet. We've been consolidating right around the prior day closing price, and at the time of this recording, we are trading flat. So I have no idea which way we're going to open up this morning. Are we going to be an up gap, a down gap, in range, out of range? I have no idea. It is too flat right now. So what I figured we'd look at this morning is just what has happened when you open flat after a 52-week high close that closed near the high of the day. So let me set that up in Discover, looking at all four instruments. The setup's going to be getting long at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, exiting at the close of regular trading hours, which is 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. In the opening filters, since I don't know which way we're going to gap, are we going to gap up or down? Since we're pretty flat right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this gap size as a percent of the 5-day ATR. And that's going to allow me to zone in on gaps that are pretty mild. And the way I can describe it is say that the maximum gap size is 20% of the 5-day ATR in either direction. So currently the 5-day ATR is about 29 points in the ES. So 20% of that is going to be around 6 points or so. So a gap in either direction of 6 points is what that would translate to today. Now I can make this number whatever I want in the opening filter section. This is fully customizable. So I'm just going to go with 20%. When we get closer to the open, this is something you may want to take a dig at yourself and make it up gaps that are 15% or down gaps that are 20%, however you want to look at it. But since I don't know, I'm going to include both gap directions and use 20% to kind of capture all of the samples here. And then I'm going to go into price patterns, and I'm going to describe this 52-week high close that closes in the top portion of its range. So first, to do the top portion of its range for the close, I can go to this location last open and close and say that the close was in the top 25% of the daily range. We actually closed up in the top 10%, but I'm going to do 25% just to try to get more samples and capture the idea. And then I'm going to go into the new highs section where I can find the day after a 52-week high close. Once I add that, I can hit view results. And here we go. So these are the results of going long at the open, which is 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and exiting at the close, which is 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time, after a 52-week high close that closed in the top quartile of its range. So a strong close at a 52-week high, and then followed up by a flat open. And I'm describing a flat open as any open that is less than 20% of the 5-day ATR away from the prior closing price. So historically, we've got good sample sizes here: 149 in the ES, 158 in the NASDAQ, 125 in the YM, and 137 in the Russell. And looking at win rates, which is describing how many of these have closed above the opening print following that pattern, it looks like the ES has been fairly favored, 62%. NASDAQ slightly favored, 56%. YM about 58%. And then Russell a little bit more neutral at 53%. So looking at win rates, none of these have been weak following this strong pattern. A couple of them have been a little bit stronger, ES being the strongest, 63%, fairly strong there. And looking at average win to average loss, it looks like the average loss is a little bit bigger on average, looking at all four of these compared to the average win. So ES, the average loss is a little bit bigger than the average win. NASDAQ, the average loss, bigger than the average win. YM, the average win is a little bit bigger than the average loss, and then Russell, the average loss, bigger than the average win. So 3 out of 4 of these have had larger moves to the downside when this pattern happens compared to the moves to the upside, but all of them have favored at least a neutral to higher close looking at win rates here. So Russell being a bit more neutral, and ES being on the stronger end for more of them closing higher than the opening price with this pattern. So this pattern does not show me that this has led to a really weak day by any means. Looks like a little bit more of them have favored green candlesticks the following session, but the risk is a little bit more on the downside for the larger moves. So hopefully you found that interesting, and when it gets closer to the open, you may want to go into this opening filters and zone in on exactly where the open's at, since right now I have no idea where we're going to open. So good luck today, and we'll see you next time.